Hello everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I am ChitChad and welcome once again to another edition of Thursday Art Day. So for this art day, I thought it would be really fun to bring back an old challenge series that I did way back in the beginning of this channel. And in fact, I only managed to get one of the videos done, which is mostly the reason why I want to try again. And that is the ABC Challenge. If you've never heard of the ABC Challenge, basically what we're going to do is take each letter of the alphabet and then draw a character associated with each letter. Originally, for A, I picked Aku from Samurai Jack. But because it's been so long since then, I decided let's just start over from the very beginning and pick a new character for the letter A. Now for A, I was thinking of all sorts of characters. Ant-Man from Marvel, or Aang from Avatar The Last Airbender, or Alpha 5 from Power Rangers, or even Amy from Sonic. But then I remembered I've been on quite the remix kick lately of some of my favorite video game soundtracks. And one of my favorite soundtracks from recent memory has been that of Undertale. So now with Undertale on the brain, the perfect character popped into my head. And that is Alphys, the loving nerd of the group who has a bit of a undying love for a specific character. So now that we're armed with our character to draw, let's push aside the murder bots and the flying spears and the unrelenting consequences, and let's get drawing. Alright, we're actually going to be doing things a bit differently since the last few art videos, because guess what? My Wacom tablet has been fixed! I have the drawing power! It's actually really exciting for me, if you can't tell, because my tablet has not worked in forever. And if you don't know, I have the Cintiq, so it's the Wacom or the Wacom tablet that has a screen on it. But I've got like the Generation 1 lowest end from years ago. Like this thing is super old and it's been put through the ringer, so I've had to replace like all the cables on it, and it finally started working and I'm so excited. So now I can actually start digitally drawing things, which, you know, I enjoy doing that. So we might do a couple videos of it that way, and we might do a couple, you know, doing the traditional way, because a lot of people said that they liked watching me draw by hand. So that's definitely not going away. But, you know, to get these out a little bit faster, I decided, you know, maybe we'll just go to, you know, drawing digitally for some of them, and we'll just mix things up every once in a while. So this drawing in particular, it just kind of worked. I didn't know what kind of pose I necessarily wanted her to be in. I was gonna have her with like a stack of papers or something, but then I'm like, you know what? She loves Undyne. She has to have a little, like, I almost thought of like a little voodoo doll of Undyne, but I'm like, that might be a little too creepy. All right, let's pull it back a little bit, and we'll just do a little like a plushie of Undyne, because then I'm like, we don't want her like practicing voodoo magic, because she's a scientist. She wouldn't be doing voodoo magic. I mean, she creates murder bots for a living. She wouldn't be doing that stuff. So when I was drawing the little Undyne plush, it made me think of like the Chows from Sonic, and it also made me think of that doll from Lilo and Stitch, and I'm forgetting what the doll's name was. I'm sure someone will say it in the comments below. I'm forgetting what it was, but like I remember they made a pop figure of it, and I thought that was amazing. I thought that was so funny. So we did the sketch inside of Photoshop, and then we brought it over, like I always do, into Flash/Animate, whatever you prefer. I still call it both. Just because some people like calling it Flash, some people call it Animate. I know I say that every episode, but I always have to make sure, because I don't want people correcting me. I know what the program's called. I just like doing line work in this, and like I said, it just always feels super clean. I feel like I have more control, especially when I want to go back in and kind of adjust the line work. I don't have to erase stuff. I can just manipulate stuff, move it, you know, skew it, whatever I've got to do to make it look right, and it's a process that works for me really well. Every time that I look at her spikes, it's like a cross between Sonic and Lisa Simpson. That's all I can see. It's not a bad thing. It's what I think of. I'm like, Sonic and Lisa Simpson did a fusion dance into, or no, it would be Sonic, Lisa Simpson, and Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory did a fusion dance, a trifecta fusion, and turned into this character. So, like I said, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed drawing this character. I really enjoy drawing Alphys, and this is actually the first, well, I can't say the first time I've drawn Undertale characters, because I drew a bunch of them on a whiteboard at my office during a break. And I do want to eventually draw Sans and Papyrus, because they are my absolute favorites in the game. I love them so much, and it's really hard to pick between the two. And it just depends on the situation. I love Sans' really dorky humor, but I also love Papyrus's like wacky inventions that he tries to put you through when you first meet him. The puzzle where he's like, oh well, this square does this and this square does that, and then you just kind of like walk through it. That got me really good. In fact, over on the Super Geek Friends channel, which if you don't know, it was the first channel that I was ever on YouTube, and I had a good friend of mine, Sarah, who was a super Undertale fan. And she told me that we need to play this game on the channel. I'm like, yes, let's do it. And so not only did we play Undertale, but we did a little variant on it. We called it Drunk Tale. Woo! And so for about 5 or 6 episodes worth, I had a drink for almost every episode, and it gets progressively more just chaotic. And we're doing the character voices at the same time. So it's a good time. It's one of my most favorite Let's Plays that I've done, and we actually never finished it, which I'm really sad about that. I feel like, and Sarah, if you're watching this, I'm totally game to go back and continue Drunk Tale, woo! Because it was a good time. It really was, and I put so much editing work into those episodes. There were so many different sight gags where I had added like googly eyeballs, or I had photoshopped in like some just ridiculous stuff. I added more to the universe of Drunk Tale. It was just a good time. I really enjoyed it, and I would love to do it again. So I actually tried something new this time for the shading. Normally, I would just kind of go in with the line work, and then after all the colors, the flats have been added, then I would go in with those lines and then create the shading. But I'm like, you know what, let's just do all the lines right now. So basically I just used a red line so that Flash/Animate sees it as a separate piece of line work. If you were to just do a black line, it would see all the black lines as like the same continuous line if you were to double click on it. But if you use a different color, whatever it is, it could be a white line versus a red line, or red line versus a blue line, doesn't matter. As long as you use a different color, it'll recognize that as a separate line piece. So you can really quickly create kind of lines where you're going to add in your harsh shadows, and then just double click on them and then delete those lines. It's a really nice tool to just kind of quickly lay in those lines, get the shading in, and then delete them. So that was something I tried to do a little bit quicker this time around, and it worked really well, which is really exciting because I don't know if any of you have been watching some of the videos that I've been putting out on this channel, but it's been a long time since I've been drawing, and that was kind of the point of doing these Thursday art days, was to get back into drawing and get back into just getting those creative vibes going again. And progressively each piece I've been getting faster and faster, which is it feels good. It feels good when your skills are kind of like, they're not as rusty as they used to be, and you feel like you're progressing just a little bit, or at least getting back to where I used to be, which is a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. It makes the process a lot more rewarding than just drawing, which if you are into art, just don't do what I did. Never stop drawing. Just always be drawing. It's so important to hone and continue your craft. I have a lot of hobbies between animating and doing video work, whether it's editing, whether it's doing audio editing, and doing voices, and I have a lot of hobbies, and it's really important to not let your hobbies kind of fall to the wayside. Always continue them, never give up on them. If you're passionate about it, always be passionate about it. It's okay to have a break day every once in a while, but don't do what I did and take like a 2-month hiatus, which even in those 2 months I was still drawing and animating, but I wasn't as hardcore because I was basically focused on one project, and that was my animated series that I'm still working on, because I've gotten a few questions. Yes, I know it's been a while. I'm still working on it, just trying to find a good balance between the 2 channels and working on that. Still an in progress thing, but I promise it's still happening. So back to the drawing now that we're back in Photoshop. So we went from Adobe Animate into Photoshop again. This time I'm just adding in some of the more detailed shading, especially now that I have my Wacom tablet working. It's a lot easier. For those of you that don't know, the last few videos I've been using a mouse. And let me tell you, using a mice is not the easiest thing in the world when it comes to shading. There are people that do it. There are like a lot of amazing pixel artists out there that can just use a mouse like it's no big deal. those people have a lot of talent, and I just don't. So I'm so glad I don't have to use a mouse anymore, because making the line work that I really like doing, and shading it to be the deeper hue or the darker hue of the interior color was so much easier this time around. I loved it, and that's another reason why I'm a lot faster, is now that I have the appropriate tools to do what I need to do. So it's great, and I'm super happy. So I really like the Undyne plush. It cracks me up. I know my friend Caitlin, this is like her favorite character of Undertale, and I still have to go with both Sans and Papyrus, but Undyne is friggin' cool. I can't lie. The first time you see her in like her suit of armor, I loved it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might have to change my favorite character, because I forgot about Lesser Dog. Was it Lesser Dog? I'm trying to remember the one that if you like kept petting him, his neck kept getting longer and longer. It was the most ridiculous. Eventually it goes all the way to the top of the screen and then comes back down. It's been so long, but still thinking about that cracks me up. Oh, I might have to draw him. Oh, I love that dog so much. Especially, I think it's the same dog that like hops out of the armor and then you realize it's just a normal dog. And I'm like, I freaked out. So you'll just have to, if you really want to see like my reaction to playing Undertale for the first time, definitely go check out those videos on Super Geek Friends. They're a good time, and I still like I said, I still need to finish the game. But I've loved every bit of it so far. It's just one of those things where I have to be very choosy on which games I dedicate time to now. But like I said, Sarah, if you're listening, if you're watching, let's do it. Let's finish Undertale. Woo! So we are coming down to the end of this drawing. I'm so happy with how this turned out. It was a lot of fun, and I like the simple background. That was one thing that's always been really daunting to me as an artist, is I'm just not very good with backgrounds. So I think for one art video in the future, we might have to do like some background studies or something like that. But overall, I'm just really happy with how this piece turned out. This character is a lot of fun, and I hope to do more Undertale related projects in the future. And that is the final piece for this ABC challenge, Alphys from Undertale. Like I always say, this was a lot of fun to draw, but a lot of it was really fun because I was listening to the Undertale soundtrack the whole time, which is always a good time. I'm curious, if you do an ABC challenge, who would you pick for the letter A? Feel free to leave that in the comments down below. And hey, if you like this content and you want to support the channel, consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. I hope you're having an amazing day. Go out there and be creative, and as always, I will chat with you later.